understand.
Welcome back to Horror Recaps. Today, I will be showing you an American horror film from 2009 titled Grace. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie opens up with a couple, Madeline and Michael, making love, trying to conceive a child. After they are done, Madeline remains at her bed, pondering about something. The scene then fast forwards several months and Michael's parents are visiting them for dinner. Meanwhile, a pregnant Madeline is preparing a vegan meal for the family dinner. Looking at the food items, Michael's mother, Vivian, suggests Madeline to have a reasonable diet that is required during pregnancy. She seems quite dominating and continues passing negative comments on the food. Vivian further urges the couple to visit Dr. Richard Sohn for their pregnancy-related treatments. However, Madeline tells Vivian that she has already made up her mind to consult a midwife, Patricia, for her safe pregnancy. When Vivian shows her dissatisfaction about her decision, Madeline replies that Patricia is her old friend and also runs an independent clinic. After the dinner with parents, Madeline and Michael pay a visit to Patricia's clinic. Though Michael is quite skeptical about the idea, Madeline insists him to enter inside and take a tour. As soon as they enter the clinic, they are welcomed by Shelley, Patricia's assistant. Shortly after, Patricia joins them and inquires about Madeline's health, who reveals that they have already tried conceiving the baby 2 times and failed. Going on, she also reveals to Patricia that she has been taking fertility medicines for 3 years. Michael inquires Patricia about her educational background and she answers him with clear honesty. Patricia tells the couple that she has been practicing pregnancy delivery for a long time and knows her job pretty well. Before the couple leave, Patricia suggests Madeline take care of herself and the baby. In the following scene, while the couple is having dinner, Michael gets a call from his mother and rushes to another room to answer it. Suddenly, Madeline feels a sharp pain in her chest and calls out Michael for help. Panicked, Michael decides to take Madeline to a nearby hospital and connects to an ambulance. In no time, they reach the hospital and Madeline's treatment starts immediately. Richard also arrives there after Vivian requested him to do so. Madeline gets furious after seeing him and refuses to get any treatment. Meanwhile, Richard orders the doctors to provide her with some drugs to induce labor. Seeing this, Michael calls Vivian and belittles her for her act. He also informs Patricia about Madeline's situation and requests her to come over to the hospital as soon as she can. After some time, Patricia arrives at the hospital and urges the doctors to stop inducing labor. When the doctors ignore her, she makes herself clear that she also holds a medical degree and is well known about pregnancy-related matters. Further, she orders them to hand her the reports that they conducted before starting to induce labor. Later, the reports arrive and the doctors discharge Madeline with some regular treatment. As the couple is conversing on their way back home, they get distracted and end up in a deadly accident. Michael passes away on the spot and Madeline is barely alive with multiple injuries. She then calls Patricia for help. In the next scene, Madeline is at Patricia's clinic, lying on her bed after some treatment. After some continuous monitoring, Patricia becomes sure that the baby inside Madeline also passed away in the accident. She keeps on looking at Madeline through a camera set in her room as she has no courage to face her and tell her about her loss. Seeing Madeline desperate to keep the baby and give birth in a natural way, Patricia allows her to do so without mentioning the baby's demise to her. On the other hand, Vivian starts behaving strangely after her son's untimely demise. After some days, Madeline's water breaks while she is going through some toys in a shop. She is immediately carried to Patricia's clinic, where a group of ladies assist her to get her baby out. Patricia leads the delivery and takes Madeline to a bathtub to ease the process. Madeline feels extreme pain during the delivery, but after a lot of effort, the deceased baby is finally out. Everyone in the room feels sorry for her, hence they decide to give her some personal time. A distraught Madeline pleads with her child to return as she has no one left in her life after Michael's demise. Seeing Madeline trying to breastfeed the lifeless child through the camera, Patricia returns to her. However, when she reaches there, she is surprised to see the child alive and actively breastfeeding. Madeline seems very happy and tells Patricia that the name of her baby is Grace. The scene then shifts to Madeline's home, where she is taking care of her newborn daughter. She is talking over the phone with her mother-in-law, who is still suggesting that she should see Dr. Richard once. Vivian also mentions that she wants to see her granddaughter and hold her in her arms. In the meantime, Patricia pays a visit to Madeline, so she cuts Vivian's call short. Patricia has brought some flowers for Madeline, congratulating her for her newborn baby. She also suggests that Madeline run some tests on Grace in a hospital. However, Madeline immediately refuses, citing that she doesn't want her pregnancy to be a medical study case. She just replies that Grace returning to life is a miracle and nothing else. As the baby grows, Madeline's concern for her increases. One day, she tries to caress Grace's hair with a comb, but ends up pulling off more hair than usual. Later at night, she also notices a strange fly, roaming around Grace. She tries her best to send the fly out of the room but fails. The next day, she keeps a net around Grace to protect her from flies. She also notices a foul odor coming out of Grace. Madeline then decides to take Grace for a bath. When she puts Grace in a bucket and starts scrubbing her, suddenly, the water turns red. Frightened, Madeline pulls out her baby and notices some scars on her skin. She then immediately calls Patricia for help, but the call is not received from the other end. Later, the number of flies around Grace increases and Madeline is compelled to hang several fly papers. She tries to breastfeed her baby, but it appears as if Grace is not able to digest the breast milk and hence she vomits. On the other hand, Vivian is so affected by her son's death that she blames Madeline for the accident. She wishes to visit the baby, but Madeline won't pick up her call. Left with no other option, she visits Dr. Richard and asks him to go to Madeline. She further mentions that he needs to examine her and prepare a report stating that Madeline is mentally ill. Vivian's plan is to use the report to get custody of her granddaughter. One night, Madeline wakes up due to some pain in her breasts. She examines to find blood stains around her nipples. The next morning, she tries to feed Grace and there she realizes that she is actually feeding on her blood rather than the breast milk. Later, when she stops by a supermarket to buy some groceries, her eyes come across a block of raw meat. As she knows that Grace wants to feed on fresh blood, she takes a large amount of raw meat home. Despite being a vegan, she squeezes out the blood from the meat and fills it into a milk bottle. Shortly after, she tries to feed the blood to Grace but she refuses to consume it. Surprisingly, Grace only seems to like fresh human blood rather than animal blood. The following day, Madeline is disposing of the meat she brought the day before. While she is doing so, she notices a car outside her home which implies that someone is spying on her. It is revealed that the spy is actually Patricia. After taking care of the meat, Madeline returns home to find Grace crying and vomiting the animal blood consumed before. This compels Madeline to continue feeding Grace with her own blood through her breasts. She also calls Patricia for help but Shelley answers the call and lies to her that Patricia is out of reach. As she feeds her own blood to Grace regularly, she becomes weak and pale. Soon, Dr. Richard pays a visit to Madeline. Though she hates him, Madeline allows Richard to come inside as she is feeling dangerously weak and ill. Richard quickly examines her and tells her that she might be anemic. He then suggests that she should stay away from breastfeeding until she fully recovers. He also asks her to provide him with a sample of her breast milk to test if the baby is getting all the nutrients she deserves. While Richard is aiding Madeline to pump some breast milk, Grace cries strangely, causing him to think that she is sick. Richard immediately runs upstairs to see Grace. Madeline tries to stop him but when he approaches near Grace's room, she panics and hits him with a glass bottle, knocking him down. Later, Madeline cleans up Dr. Richard's body by pulling it up to the bathroom. Suddenly, she comes up with an idea and decides to feed Richard's fresh blood to Grace. Madeline then cuts through his skin and starts filling the bottle with his dripping blood. Meanwhile, Vivian arrives at the door and rings the bell. Listening to this, Madeline hurries to fill the bottle and comes out of the bathroom. Downstairs, Vivian manages to enter as she finds the door open. She takes a look around the house and finds it to be in an unmanaged state. When she tries to sneak upstairs, Madeline confronts her and takes her to the kitchen, telling her that Grace is tired and asleep. Desperate to see her granddaughter, Vivian requests Madeline to let her see Grace once, but she refuses. After multiple refusals from Madeline, Vivian decides to leave, but not before she pretends to use the bathroom. When Madeline goes away, Vivian changes her way and sneaks upstairs. She enters Grace's room to find her sleeping in her crib. Realizing Vivian is taking more time in the bathroom, Madeline calls out for her and hears some creaking sound coming from Grace's room. She immediately rushes towards the room but gets shocked to find her baby missing. During this time, Vivian has managed to sneak into the bathroom. She is horrified to see Dr. Richard's body inside and decides to grab a hammer to defend herself. She carefully climbs down the stairs with Grace, hiding herself from Madeline. Despite her best efforts, Madeline finds her and tries to stop her, stating that Grace is special and she needs special food. When Madeline tries to get her baby, Vivian attacks her with the hammer. Out of nowhere, Patricia arrives there and hears some unusual noise from inside. During Madeline and Vivian's confrontation, Vivian accidentally hits Madeline on her head with the hammer, making her unconscious. When she approaches to examine her condition, Madeline wakes up and bites a chunk from Vivian's throat, eliminating her. Soon, Patricia gets inside the house to find Vivian and Madeline lying on the floor. She then decides to take Madeline and Grace away from the place. In the last scene, Patricia is driving a camper bus through the desert. She pulls over to the side and checks on Madeline and Grace, who appear to be very much alive. Both ladies appear to be different and have altered their hairstyles. Patricia claims that medical examinations have shown Grace to be as healthy as she seems. She also suggests that they may continue to feed and raise Grace as long as Madeline consumes the right diet and nutrition. Madeline, on the other hand, is concerned about something else. She tells Patricia that now Grace has grown up and that she has started teething. She then pulls her top, revealing her mutilated breast. This indicates that the baby has now started craving for human flesh. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.